Hi guys, this is King Kanye the Gamer Boy, bringing you a Mesmer PvP build guide for the game Guild Wars 2. Right off, I want you to know that I actually did not design or discover this build. I originally caught word of it on the Guild Wars 2 forums, where I believe it originated. However, I haven't seen any guides on the internet pertaining to a Mesmer build of this sort, so I figured I would bring it to you myself. Forewarning, this build may change a little bit with the upcoming changes to the way that critical damage works from ArenaNet. However, in the meantime, I encourage you, go ahead, try it out, have fun with it, see what you think, because I think it is a fantastic build. Now, I'll go ahead and jump right into the build to not waste any of your precious gaming time. So you can probably tell right off that this is a Berserker build, due to its high amounts of critical hit chance, and even higher amounts of critical hit damage. The build focuses largely in dealing critical burst damage through the various phantasms that you can spawn. In my personal experience, it's the most offensively powerful build that I've ever used, as well as the best 1 versus 1 build that I've ever used. Of course, these are my opinions, so you have to take them with a grain of salt. Alright, so the first thing we'll cover will be the runes, the amulet, and the sigils. In our armor, we'll be using 6 Superior Rune of the Air, which in total will grant us with a 10% bonus to critical hit damage, as well as a 20% chance to strike our foes with lightning whenever they hit us. It's rude, I realize. Additionally, we'll get a 20% swiftness duration, as well as the ability to gain 5 seconds of swiftness whenever we use a healing skill. Now, we don't have a large pool of vitality or a wall of toughness to help us soak up damage that people deal to us, so instead, we'll have to utilize evasion in order to get away from most of the damage our opponents attempt to deal to us. This means that a lot of deception and mind games, as well as utilizing your blocks, your dodges, and your swiftness to evade the damage. Alright, as far as our amulet goes, we'll be using the Berserker's Amulet as well as the Berserker's Jewel, which I think should be pretty self-explanatory in a Berserker build. For our sigils, each weapon set will feature 1 Superior Sigil of Energy and 1 Superior Sigil of Paralyzation. I'll briefly explain what both of them do. In case you're not familiar, Endurance is a thing that allows you to barrel roll around acrobatically, avoiding fiery meteors, charging necrotic minions, and slews of tiny invisible daggers from your opponents. In essence, what I'm applying is that it's invaluable. What the Sigil of Superior Energy does is grant you 50% of your endurance whenever you swap to that weapon set while you're in combat. As we all know from barreling around the vast expanses of Tyrio, while we're at 100% of our endurance, we're allotted 2 dodges before endurance reaches 0%, which means that if we remember anything from learning percentages in 2nd grade, I know that I do, that at 50% of our endurance we are allowed 1 dodge. Essentially, switching to these weapons while you're in combat will give you a free dodge, which all goes back to the whole we don't have much vitality or toughness, so we're going to have to dodge pretty well everything. You can see how this pays off in the long run, swapping back and forth as you combat countless enemies in PvP in an attempt to kill them before they kill you. As far as the Sigil of Superior Paralyzation goes, it offers 15% stun duration. This comes into play a little bit later on when we feature a few of our attacks that stun the enemies, allowing us to get off multiple burst critical damage attacks. As far as the weapons we'll be featuring these sigils in, our first setup, main hand, will be Scepter, and our offhand will be the sword. In our second setup, our main hand weapon will be a sword, and our offhand will be the pistol. That covered, let's go ahead and move on to traits. I'll try and cover all of these quickly simply for time's sake. You can see I've invested 10 in Domination, 30 in Dueling, and 30 in Inspiration. Now I'll go over the bonuses that these offer. In Domination, at 5, you'll gain the ability to inflict vulnerability on a foe whenever you interrupt them, and at 10, you'll choose the 3 option, granting your illusions 15% more damage. For Duelist, at 5, you're granted Vigor when delivering critical hits, which helps regenerate your endurance, all going back to dodging. At 10, you'll choose the 2 skill, granting your Phantasm Fury, which gives them additional critical hit chance. At 15, you'll begin inflicting bleeding upon your critical hits. At 20, you'll choose the 4 option, which gives you additional precision when wielding swords, the reason why we split the swords between the 2 weapon sets rather than putting them both on 1, as well as reducing the recharge rate on your sword, which is just a good thing. At 25, whenever your illusions die, they'll inflict confusion to foes around them, allowing them to go down kicking. And at 30, you'll choose the 9 option, which increases the range on your pistol skills to 1200 from 900, as well as reducing the recharge rate on them. Again, why would you not want that? Lastly, we'll go into Inspiration, which actually makes us a little bit more survivable, as well as gives us a lot of damage boost through it, as you'll see. Upon investing 5 points, your Phantasms will gain Retaliation, allowing them to hit back a little bit if your opponents choose to focus them down rather than you. At 10, you'll choose the 4 option, which removes a condition whenever you're healed. At 15, it will grant your phantasms regeneration, allowing them to survive a little bit longer. At 20, you'll choose the 5 option, which gives your phantasms increased health, and similarly, at 25, your phantasms will gain 15% damage, making them a little bit beefier. Then at 30, you'll choose the 6 option, which makes you move faster for every active illusion that you have, going back once again to dodging and getting away from our enemies. That's it for traits. As far as healing skills go, I chose Signet of the Aether over Aether Feast. I know a lot of people use them interchangeably, and ultimately it's going to be up to you to make the decision on which you like best. However, I'll go over why I chose one over the other. As far as Aether Feast goes, it does offer more healing, as well as has a shorter cooldown of 20 seconds. Signet of the Aether, on the other hand, has a larger cooldown of 35 seconds, and offers a little bit less healing upon activation. However, I believe that if you're utilizing your dodges and your swiftness to evade around your enemies appropriately, you will benefit more in the long run from the passive healing of the Signet of Aether, which at maximum heals 1000 health every 3 seconds for having 3 illusions out. That's a lot of health. Additionally, whenever you activate the Signet to heal, it recharges all your phantasm skills. You can probably see how this could be employed pretty well. Say you're in a battle that's been going on for a while with a guardian or a warrior, and you can't seem to gain the upper hand, or maybe they're close to defeating you. Well, you activate your heal, and all of your phantasm skills have suddenly recharged. Maybe you just used all of them in a desperate attempt to beat them and are now low health. Not only have you healed up to a clean slate, but all of your cooldowns on your phantasms have recharged, and you can drop all of those again to take them down right afterwards. Definitely the better trade-off in my opinion, but once again, you're going to have to make that decision for yourself. As for utilities, I've chosen Decoy, the Signet of Illusions, and Blink. They're all really powerful utilities and really popular, but I'll go over them for you anyways. Decoy allows you to gain 3 seconds of stealth, as well as summon an illusion that runs towards your foe, basically just to get them off your tail. All goes back to evading, like we talked about before. Signet of Illusion passively grants more health to your illusions, and actively recharges your shatter skills. I don't think you'll ever really need to use this one. We're not going to be shattering our phantasms very often, as we need them as our primary source of damage. However, we'll simply use the passive at all times to grant more health to them, allowing them to deal more damage before the opponents could potentially take them down. Lastly, Blink is very obvious. Why would you not want it? It's viable in StarCraft, it's viable in Guild Wars 2. Alright, that sums it up for skills, and I believe this build video. Remember to check out the link to this build on the Guild Wars 2 forums in the description below, as well as a link to my personal website. Additionally, leave your comments, your feedbacks, and your experiences with this build in the comments below. This is King Kanye, the Gamer Boy, signing off and saying with his best video game rabbit impersonation, do a barrel roll!
Why did you leave me? You created me, so don't you wanna see me? Daddy, do you even love me? Well, I wish you would show it, because I wouldn't know.